Hi everyone, welcome to Femvisionary channel. My name is Madhu and I'm so excited to paint this beautiful greeting card together. The first thing we are talking about is the materials. We want to have cardstock paper with watercolor as well as a thinner paper that's going to be our secondary paper. A filbert brush, some glue stick, double-sided tape, and obviously some watercolor paints. So starting with our main cardstock, using that for the base, we're going to take our secondary paper as mentioned in the materials and start painting our flowers. We're using a subtle pink to build each petal at a time beautifully. Once you have 5 cute petals, let's add more flowers to the mix. It's always such a great idea to add some buds when you're creating a floral bunch. It gives it movement and makes it more interesting. Time to take some pink, and then we're just going to dab the edge of the brush along the center circle to create a beautiful mix of colors. We're going to use the same pink to connect the buds to a main stem. I mainly use round brushes, but for this exercise it made sense to use a filbert brush because it's much more easier to handle for the design that we're going for. Try to make your leaves a little bit curved, allowing them to maybe turn downwards, swaying with the wind. Let's leave a gap and add a couple of more elements that we can then cut and use for the front of our card. Following the same step of using pink to build out our flowers, adding some buds, you can get really creative and just have fun with this. We're leaving gaps between each element so that when we cut it, it's going to be a lot more easier. We can really enjoy this process of adding leaves, and it's so simple. Just drag them gently, moving them to the side and gently linking them to the main stem. How about some more elements? So we're going to switch our green and we're going to try a different leaf, and this is going to be a nice addition to our existing elements. So here I'm adding the leaves along a main stem, letting the stem be the guide for it, and using some watercolor color pencils to give an outline for this. You can see how this actually lifts up the color and just makes it a little bit more fun and quirky and gives a little more of a childlike feel. It's more playful, and that's what we're going for with our greeting cards. Add another leaf bunch. We're just playing around with elements at this point. We're going to add some flowers that are a little bit more longer in length to give a little variation from what we did before. And you can see how I'm stacking up each flower petal at a time till it becomes almost a point at the top. Let's do another one so we have 2 of these cute little elements. When choosing colors for your greeting cards, try to pick a limited color palette and base them on a specific season. In my case, I've gone for summer and chosen colors accordingly. Time to use our green and then just add in your leaves, one at a time. This time going for longer leaves, so just dragging it a little further away from our flower. I like making sure that the stem is a little curved and it's not just straight lines. It gives a little more flow to the flowers. Another pro tip is to add a variety of greens while you're painting your various elements to make them look different from each other. Changing around the shape of the leaves is another cool technique to create variety in the card. Using an orange color pencil, this is a watercolor pencil as mentioned in the materials. We're just going to outline some of these flower petals, basically florets. We're going to add a couple of more details if needed and just bringing it all together with this subtle line. My favorite part, we're going to add some cute little butterflies to add to our piece. Butterflies are so easy to do. We're just doing 2 circles, one big, one small, and then we're going to connect them to the body and the antennas. It's that fun. You can pick any color. I chose bright yellow because I thought that pop of color would be perfect for what we're looking for. Making sure that all of your elements are quite small and cover basically the size of your card. If they're bigger than the size of your card all put together, it's going to be a lot of excess and you may not use a lot of the elements. Good news is if you do have extra, you can always use them in your art and there's no real wastage. But stick to trying to get as many smaller elements on that page so it's all used for this beautiful card that we are playing around with. I like using watercolor pencils because it just adds a little texture to the piece. If you have your normal color pencils, that's great. Just that little tweak of texture is so interesting. Once we have all of our elements, we're going to go into the next step. Time to get our cutting mat and we're going to cut all the different elements one at a time, leaving a little bit of a white space along the edge. I've got all my elements ready and we can start with our card stock. The first thing I'm going to do is add in a base using the same colors that we painted our floral elements with. And that is going to help create a nice backdrop to our various elements. We can play around with our elements, making sure that they're placed maybe on top of each other, underneath each other, just having fun with them and bringing them all together in the process. Take some time to arrange all of the elements so you have an idea of how they're going to look, so you can accordingly choose your backdrop. What I'm trying to do is get as many elements as possible towards the bottom of the sheet, leaving a little bit of that space on top, and that's going to look really interesting. You can see how the curved elements just make it a lot more interesting and gives movement to your card. I've got some smaller elements that I've added in, simple lines with my color pencil, just to add that tweak to the piece. You don't have to use all the elements. If it's too much, you can remove some of them and we will use them in future projects. Getting our butterflies ready, and they're the pop of color that we need for our piece. Take a picture of this so you have an idea of where you placed everything, and let's paint our backdrop. Having placed everything, I know that my top part of my painting is going to be visible, more visible. So let's make sure that we add some beautiful colors right on top. We're following a wet on wet technique for this step, so making sure that your paper is still wet while you add in this array of colors. Sticking to the summer theme of light pinks, yellows, bold oranges, and continuing with that flow of color throughout our grading card. This is going to also match with our different elements that we just created. Adding a mix of colors all around the sheet, having fun. There's no right way to do this. It's just filling up your page with a pop of color. Use lots of water so you get a nice, soft, subtle mix. And that's what we want. We don't want bright, bold colors for our cards this time. I love adding yellow. It's such a bright drop of sunshine to your piece. It's such a great color to add in, especially in the summer. That bright yellow is so beautiful. This summer, I've actually been having a lot of fun playing around with painting greeting cards for all of my friends' birthdays and giving them something custom. It feels so much more special than just buying a card off the rack. And this time I'm also putting in effort because these pop-ups are beautiful. They're so personal. And it just, every time I send it to a friend, they're just so happy and there's this big smile on their face. And it's really making me excited to paint even more. Once you're done, let's allow the piece to dry completely. Once our card is completely dry, we can place back our elements and then we're gonna stick them down one at a time. To stick them down, instead of just using basic glue, you could use double-sided tape with a little bit of sponge so that it lifts up the piece. You can see the double-sided tape that I'm using. It's perfect because it's got a little bit of height and that's gonna make all these elements pop right out of the page. I've sped up the process a bit, but you can see how some of the elements I've tucked inside or underneath, making sure that they underlap some of the layers, changing around the placements from what I decided initially, which happens, and just adding a butterfly maybe at the point where all of these elements are meeting so it all just comes together beautifully. I always leave the butterflies to the last because I can kind of place them in areas that make sense. And this is our beautiful front of the card. It's so pretty, vibrant, perfect for any occasion. And we're going to have that ready and work on the inside next week. If you enjoyed this tutorial, subscribe to my channel, leave a review, leave a comment below, and I can't wait to hear from you.